You know, people don't understand. I went to an Ivy League college. I was a nice student. I did very well. I'm a very intelligent person. The fact is, I really believe the press creates a different image of Donald Trump than the real person.
As President Trump just yesterday lodging a complaint against the news media, making the case, as you just heard him, he's a good person, both in the head and the heart. And as you just heard, he says we in the media create a less flattering image. Well, you make the call. A look back here at some of the president's most civil moments.
Little Marco, they hate him in Florida. We call him Lion Ted.
Is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund.
But Elizabeth Warren is terrible. In the Senate, everybody hates her. You can have Pocahontas. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. Like to punch them in the face, I'll tell you.
Physically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the you can do anything.
Okay,
I didn't start it.
But, sir, with all due respect, that's the argument of a 5-year-old.
I didn't start it. No, it's not the.
Yeah,
no, it's
the argument of a 5-year-old is he started
You would
it.
say that.
That's him. Tape doesn't lie. Unless we are so good, we created all these body doubles out there to do that. What point was the president trying to make yesterday?
I think he's trying to get the media to talk. I mean, he's trying to get us to talk about this and sort of
to do that. That's what happens when he says things like that.
To sort of argue about this with him. I think he feeds off of the fact that the media, the media treats him unfairly. That's what his supporters believe. But the truth of the matter is what he complains about the media, showing him as. This is what he recognizes. This is what his supporters like about him. That he sort of sticks a finger in the eye of the people that his base doesn't particularly like.
Everyone loved on the campaign trail. His base loved that he would go out and say things that they all might want to say to their friends, to their buddies. And here is the guy who's going to run the free world, and he's going to say them too. And I think that made his base feel very comfortable. And at the same time, the president wants to be in the inner circle. He wants to be an insider, and it bothers him when he's not characterized as such. Meanwhile, he is the president of the United States.
But that you two just hit on the internal conflict or the paradox that is President Trump. He knows he wants to keep. He didn't win the popular vote. He has this base that's, yes, his approval numbers are historically unpopular, but his base is rock solid and consistent, and he caters to them and he wants to keep them and he talks to them. When he's talking, he's often talking to them, not the Washington establishment, and yet he likes to be liked. Mm-hmm. And he wonders, why doesn't the establishment like me more? This was part of the reason Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona said, I'm done. I'm not going to run for re-election, and I'm going to be harshly critical of the president. He says Republicans shouldn't hide from that. He says he waited 9 months to see if, as president, a lot of those things you just heard from the campaign would change. Jeff Flake says they won't. The question was put to the Speaker of the House today about whether he thinks it's important to call out such words.
I don't think the American people want to see us up here yelling at each other. They want to see us fighting for them. The American people want results. So if we're calling each other names or calling each other out or saying things against each other, what does that do to help a working mom get ahead? What does that do to advance tax reform, which will give us faster economic growth and bigger paychecks? Nothing.
Pivot is what they call that in the political consultant playbook.
I mean, where is the agency for the president in this? I mean, he is the one who uses the names. That's, I think, the blind spot for Republicans on this is they recognize that they can't cut against the president, the leader of their own party on this. But in every instance, he is the instigator for that.
But Paul Ryan knows from personal experience that if you take issue with the president, you will be the next one he goes after.
Many Republicans don't view this as name-calling. Many Republicans on Capitol Hill view this as sort of a battle for the soul of the nation. When Jeff Flake goes out there and gives speeches about President Trump, he's not just trying to call him a name. And I think that's sort of the difference.
Well, whether it's Flake, Corker, as you just pointed out, Paul Ryan, I think the Republicans know that you are either for Trump or you are against him. Mm-hmm. And I see when he's talking about civility, he's making a connection to intelligence. And I think he's trying to say politics is tough. I'm doing a good job politically, I'm reaching my base, and therefore I should be respected for it.
He's trying to say I'm getting a bad rap and nobody's being fair. But what's happening is that Republicans, Paul Ryan was actually pretty transparent about it, in weighing the sort of advantage/moral responsibility about calling the president out on stuff that makes many of them really personally uncomfortable. In the back of their minds, they're like, just let's concentrate on conservative judges, and if we can't repeal health care, getting tax reform at least. That is, I'm going to say that's going to be the test, but it might not be the test. Healthcare was supposed to be the test. The stock market might be the test. At some point, there's probably like a tipping point of reckoning, but we haven't seen it yet.
Their point, the things that they don't like about the president is put blinders on and try to get things done. The problem is, to your point, they haven't gotten things done. Tom Coburn, former conservative senator from Oklahoma, very respected voice in the Republican Party and the conservative movement, said this to Jonathan Martin of the New York Times. We have a leader who has a personality disorder, but he's done what he actually told people he was going to do, and they're not going to abandon him. Tom Coburn making the point about the Trump base. Washington can have one conversation about the president. If you go out in America, he is getting his conservative judges. They think he hasn't delivered on a lot of these things yet, but they think he's fighting on immigration. They think he's fighting on the issues they care about. They think, and again, tax reform will be the details, will be a key test of this. The opioid crisis, another test of this. They think he's fighting for the little guy, the guy he promised, I'll be your voice.
I don't know if they think that. I think more likely is they think, well, he's standing up for what I think about the national anthem, for instance. I think a lot of these cultural issues are actually where the Republican base feels more affinity to the president than, I think that the policy issues are sort of a stand-in to sort of say, well, we want Congress to sort of hit Congress over that, actually.
That's a smart point in the sense that a lot of them don't trust Washington to do anything anyway.
Right.
And so to have a president talking about other big issues, that's a very intimate point.
Yeah, not Ivy League. These are not Ivy League talking points.
Not Ivy League, but they're political smarts.
Right.
And he's messaging to hit the people that he's trying to message to, and they're receiving those messages.
Yeah, agreed. But if it was John Kerry or something championing his Ivy League credentials,
that's a good point.
Donald Trump would be making fun of it. In this case, he thinks it suits him. It's just,
I'm going to get the Wharton.
It's an irony.
I'm going to get the Wharton class. Let's see if this one this semester. Up next, Trump on the campaign trail celebrating WikiLeaks over those leaked Hillary Clinton emails that made her look bad.
WikiLeaks, some new stuff, some brutal stuff. I may not read it to you, but the hell with it. Just trust me, it's real bad stuff.
When we come back, turns out a firm working for the Trump campaign actually reached out to WikiLeaks, hoping to get its hands on those emails.